Hey gamers, YouTubers, Kyle here with Game Time. Welcome to our big 50th episode extravaganza. We don't have any games to talk about here on, or to show on this episode, because basically we're 50 episodes in, and I decided to do a little bit of a question and answer, get to know your buddy Kyle here a little bit. I know we've done a lot of shows currently, and haven't really opened up a whole lot, so that hopefully we can take that chance to do so on this episode. I asked, posted a comment in the Facebook group page here on Game Time, which I'll leave a link in the description, so if you haven't done so, go and like the page. It's a fun little community. It's starting to get going here a little bit. You can kind of come and share your own channels and share your videos on there, and just a great place to talk about games, everything from the Odyssey all the way up to PS4, everything in between. So we'll do that here for the next 15 or so minutes, and I have a lot of questions, both from the from the Facebook group page, from my Twitter account, which is at Kyle_325_. Don't worry about that one too much. I'm only there to follow other people. And I actually got several questions just in person, which when I mentioned I was going to do this question and answer video, got it. Just, you know, they're all pretty standard, pretty basic, so we'll see how that goes. So let's do some questions and answers. Like I said, kind of to know me a little bit. First of all, this isn't even my first channel. I actually did before this a series of Let's Plays, and we did actually pretty close to 50 videos of those too. On the Let's Play channel, we did about 15 minutes or so of just gameplay footage and kind of talked about the game a little bit. But don't bother looking for them because I since then deleted the channel, but it was a good 2 years with that channel. We did, did a lot of fun gameplay videos. So let's start, I'll just kind of do a mix here. By the way, I'm using the Sony Xperia Tablet Z, my favorite tablet. I think it's the best one on the market. And if you have DualShock 3 controller, PS3 controller, you can sync them up, and it's good for playing some games using that. And we definitely will be doing a video on that in the near future. Just the gaming on the Xperia Z is really the best out there, I think. Alright, let's do a couple here kind of basic questions. My thoughts on making and creating video games. That'd be fun. I actually have thought about that quite a bit, of course. Growing up and even nowadays, but the thing to remember is a lot of that is kind of sitting in front of a computer, putting in code, working with animations and wireframes and creating environments and lighting, and I just don't think that part itself doesn't sound very fun. Doing that day in and day out, just kind of sitting in front of a computer screen. I would actually like to do, some character designs or write some stories, because I do kind of consider myself a writer. That's why I went to college for English and creative writing. So I think that part would be fun, but I just like to sit back and play the games, and I feel that that'd be part work would get mixed with the enjoyment of video games, and that wouldn't be all that great. Favorite gaming character? Some of these, like favorite games ever, I might have to answer with a couple multiple answers. I know it's kind of the easy way out, but first thing that comes to mind, I love Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. Just a great character. Samus is probably my favorite Nintendo character. I have a couple statues and figures of her. I do like Boo from the NES or Nintendo as well. Knuckles, always the best character from Sonic. Mega Man. Let's see, yeah. I really enjoyed the Prince as well, from Prince of Persia. But my very first video game crush was Chun-Li from Street Fighter. I got a special controller, PS2 controller, sort of the anniversary edition of Street Fighter here. You open that up, it's a kind of a Chun-Li themed PS2 controller, so perfect for fighting games. And I'm just going to keep it in here. Let's do a couple of the Facebook comments. This first one comes from, actually, he does a great channel. It's Buried on Mars. Go check out his channel. Just type YouTube here, Buried on Mars. informative, well-made, very professional videos. He's very well-knowledged in his video games. Definitely one of my new favorites here on YouTube. It's kind of funny. He wants a whole gaming history lowdown, something that would answer all the basic questions, favorite game, favorite console, etc. But mostly he's curious if I play any PC games, classic or modern. Alright, yeah, that's all the basics. We'll do favorite game here first. Again, I can't say if I have a favorite game or not, because it's kind of switches, depends on the time or, the mood that I'm in. There's a few favorites that I like. Basically, if you've seen the intro to my other videos, which we didn't do on this one, all those are favorites. Pitfall 2 on the Atari's masterpiece. My very first ever video game was Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES. I do consider that a favorite. But yeah, GTA Vice City really got me into sort of the modern era of games there in the PS2 era. Vice City, Portal is another one that I really enjoy. And probably my favorite current franchise is the Uncharted series. Streets of Rage as well. So, pick either one. Those are my favorites. First console was the NES. Although not to make me sound too old, by the time I got into the NES, I was grade school, about the kindergarten, first grade-ish, actually. So that was early 90s. I want to say 92 is when I received my NES from my grandparents. I believe it was like either Christmas or birthday present. But by the time the NES, I got my NES, the Super Nintendo was already out. So those very early days, it was during the Super NES and Sega Genesis era. But I had my Nintendo, I had a boatload of games, and I was good. A little spoiled, but yeah, not so much anymore, so we're all good. Let's see, in PC games, it's tricky because for the past little while here, I've been without a PC or laptop. I used to have a laptop. Don't right now. I got my tablet. That's pretty much been my replacement laptop. Just haven't got one since. Phone covers a lot of that. I have internet on the PS3 and etc. So really, I just haven't had a need for these. And even these videos here are shot on, an older Sony tablet. They're edited on that tablet. They're uploaded through that tablet, which explains some of the some of the lower quality. But how do I want to say this without losing half the audience? I think there's always sort of this PC gaming elitist crew, like PC gaming's the way to go, and that's, they're elitists and console peasants and all that. And I just don't like that community. I don't. If you have a great gaming PC, yeah, you spent $1,000 or plus on getting a gaming rig going. I hope your gaming PC is superior than anything that's on the market. You spend a lot of money on that. But it's just a lot of hassle for me. It's just, viruses and all this stuff you get on your PC. And even some that I do know personally, they're hooking up their PC, they're big PC gaming. But then I see them play, they're using a controller. They're using like a PC controller or a 360 controller. I'm like, well, what happened to mouse and keyboard superiority? So I don't know. I just don't like that crowd. But good for you. I played City of Heroes. Is an MMO I spent hundreds of hours with, and a lot of point-and-click adventures, a lot of MMOs are better on the PC. I think some like real-time strategy games much better on the PC. It's great for a few different genres of games. It's much better on the PC. But everything else, I feel, is just better on consoles. It may be dumbed down to some extent, but I like sitting back on the couch, maybe with some friends, sitting on my floor, laying back in bed, controller in hand, hooked up to the TV. A lot more freedom versus PC. I'm hunched over a desk with a mouse and keyboard. Very uncomfortable. I just don't get the social abilities of the PC. So, did I play any PC? Yeah, like I said, MMOs, classic games, grade school. Played the heck out of, it was an old Macintosh. I remember that distinctly. Again, early to mid 90s, Macintosh, playing games like Oregon Trail, Number Munchers. Oh, love those. I really want to get Commodore 64. That's on the to-get list. Most played game, again, City of Heroes, of course, MMOs, currently on the PS3. I haven't put this in for a long time, but DC Universe on a console works very well. I didn't think it would. That's one of those games that you feel that you need a mouse and keyboard, but there was a controller adaptation. It works very well. It worked pretty much like a third-person shooter or third-person action game. They mapped the controls very well. Otherwise, Smash Brothers easily for the GameCube. Smash Brothers Brawl is the reason why I got a GameCube. Smash Brothers Melee is the reason why I got a Wii. And both of those are very, very well played. Let's go. One of my buddies, Adam, here on the Facebook page. What classic games would you like to see remade into modern versions with new graphics, sound, music? What features would you like to see? I did a video a couple of videos ago. You can go back on my channel, look for an episode entitled Game Franchises That We Would Like to See Return. Or it's something like that. Basically, franchises from the past that we really haven't seen a lot of in the past decade or so. Star Tropics for the NES. There's two of those. Great games. Streets of Rage. Here we go again. Streets of Rage. I like the cruising games, the racing games. Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World, Cruisin' Exotica. Love to see those games back. And shooter-wise, Time Splitters. Come on. I love Time Splitters. I think that online with map making, map sharing, frantic as can be, 16 or 32 player online games, that needs to come back. That is a must return franchise. So, and yeah, so modern versions of all those games, or at least something new. Like they did Kid Icarus here not too long ago, last year or two, for the 3DS, brought Kid Icarus back. Yeah. What features would I like to see? If you're going to do a lot of those classic games, it was mentioned on one of my favorites. I think it was actually Buried on Mars, so I'm going to give him credit for this. He mentioned a lot of these virtual console games that it's coming out for the Wii U would be great. Imagine Super Mario Bros. 3 online. It would be great to play those classic virtual console games online with friends from other states far away. You're sitting, you're playing the two-player game, you're seeing what the other player's doing, they get killed or they pass a stage, it's your turn. And you're playing that game online. 3DS, Wii U needs to do that. That would be major. And that would, I think, really help sell Nintendo. Because people would play those classic games online. Underrated game and system. Fair enough. I love the cool Spot series. Spot was a 7-Up mascot, late 80s, early 90s. And I starred in, a lot of people don't realize, but I actually starred in about 4 or 5 games. One of them, I actually have a box version right here. Spot for the NES, sort of plays like, what's that? Othello? Sort of that board game. A lot of people remember Cool Spot, Super NES, Sega version. There was also Spot Goes to Hollywood, which is kind of a sequel to that. That also was for Sega Genesis, PS1. And there was a Game Boy exclusive game called Spot's Cool Adventure. And you're going to see all these because I am working on a retrospective for the Cool Spot franchise. It's probably going to be a 2-part series, but we're going to see all those Spot games in action because those are just so underrated. They're all just really good. Underrated system, then. I have that right here. As well as the Game Boy did for Nintendo, I always felt their competition had better systems. And the first of which was the Atari Lynx. This is a handheld Atari, as huge as can be. But you know what? It had a backlit screen, which the original Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color did not. It had a full color screen, which it took Nintendo a long time to do with their Game Boys. You could even flip it for any preferred left-handed people. You could flip it, play it upside down, and that works. It had a charger. It was a battery hog and everything. System linking this thing, and it had some good games. I'm not going to say great, but it had some jolly good games. I feel that's a very underrated system. Much better than the Game Boy, technically speaking, especially back in the day. But what the Game Boy did right was the games themselves. The Game Boy had a massive library of great games, and even though the competition, Sega Game Gear as well, the competition had some superior hardware, but Nintendo and their games win. So, let's see here. This is actually a good question here. Favorite non-video game question. Favorite YouTubers. That list is kind of long as well because a lot of my favorites aren't actually gaming related. So let me stick with some gaming favorite YouTube gamer channels. All Gym Gamers is a podcast I really love, and all four of the guys, four main characters, I love. They all have their own great channels. Metal Jesus Rocks, you need to look these people up. Put this video, look up their videos because they're much better. Metal Jesus Rocks, the EMU reviews, sort of does reviews of emulators. I'm not big into emulators, but he does a good show. Pete's Game Room, kind of like this show here. We kind of sit and talk about games and show some games off. And Game31, that guy I really like. I saw a video of his a while back, and I mentioned this because I actually have his game that he worked on for the ColecoVision. But saw his game tour a while back ago, and it kind of just, to some extent, inspired me to go back and kind of pick up a lot of these classic games and consoles that I really liked. I saw all his own systems, and I'm like, those are the games I really liked back in the day. Those are the games I enjoyed. Why don't I have those? So, thanks to Gamester for that. Otherwise, maybe a lot of not as well known, but I mentioned Buried on Mars, great channel. The Game Theorists, they kind of cover sort of conspiracy theories in video games. Very great show, very thought-provoking. They did a great one, is Link dead in Majora's Mask? Need to watch that. The Secret of the Companion Cube in Portal 2, very dark and creepy. That needs to be watched. But yeah, 65 Gamer Guy, Joe Goes Retro, Game Chasers, Cartridge Brothers, tons of, I could probably go on for a while. Rev3 Games has Adam Sessler used to do X-Play with Morgan Webb. He has a new channel, newer channel on YouTube. That needs to be watched. So there we go. Let's see. That almost does it. Someone did mention maybe some rare, what's the rarest game that I have. That I don't know. I would have to almost kind of do some research or, pricey games, do a price guide. I will say this though, I actually did a search for this game on Amazon and eBay, and you can do the same if you don't believe me. I was searching for DuckTales 2, because I'm actually looking for the first DuckTales NES cartridge. So just for fun, I searched DuckTales 2, because I actually have this game. And the prices I was finding on eBay and Amazon were ridiculous. And those were just for the cartridge. DuckTales 2 for the NES. Ridiculous amounts of prices for just the cartridge. I'll show you something here, though. DuckTales 2 for the NES in the original box. I have the game in there. It works perfectly. I have the original instruction booklet. The box itself is pretty beaten up. It's definitely not a top-notch quality, but the original game itself. So the cartridge goes for a lot. I've seen 200 plus, honestly. I couldn't even imagine how much the complete in box version goes. I could probably get several hundred for that if I really tried. So but I want to keep it because it was one of my first NES games and lots of sentimental value. Plus, it's a great game. It's for me top 10 NES games out there. It really is. There's a lot of good secrets and twists in this game. Really love it. Really fun boss battle at the end too. Let's see. I can't think of anything else really to show off. We'll do a game room tour in the next couple weeks as well. I know that's been requested. I also requested if we're going to do like any types of special shows. The answer is yes, of course. The cliche answer is I can't reveal anything just yet, but one of them has to deal with some horror games that are going to be mentioned. We're going to do a fun little side series of that. That's in the works. It's going to be cheesy, a little stupid, but everything on this channel is. We're going to be doing some tabletop gaming too. That's something that I like. When I answered the previous question, would I make games? No, but I would love to make and design tabletop games, and I have. I've designed a few now, probably 6, 7 or so tabletop games, and make them like out of poster board and hand draw the pieces and make the rules up and everything, and it actually worked out pretty good. I'm proud of how they turned out. And I'll have some friends over and we'll actually sit down and play those. So I really like those. But we'll do some looking at some tabletop games in the near future as well. We'll add a playlist to the channel for that. And some more hidden gems are coming up. I'm really proud of that horror series, like I said, we're going to be doing. That's going to be a little cheesy. You'll see why I can't mention that. I don't want anyone to take my wonderful idea for that by the time we get around to that. So that should pretty much do it. I think this video is long enough. I'm sure I probably missed a question or two, but if you have any other questions you'd like to ask or comments related to myself, my collection or whatnot, the channel itself, type of videos we're going to do, actually I do have a few good video ideas lined up here in the near future. It's just getting around, sitting around and doing them, editing them and all that. But leave a comment, leave a question down below, and we'll do another one of these in the near future as well. So, yeah, that's the list. So, other than that, everybody, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, you can do so. Feel free. We'll have some good conversations. Again, like that Facebook group page, it's coming along together very nicely. And we'll see you next time on Game Time, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Happy gaming. Stay classic. All that fun stuff.